But first, we begin in Idaho with the case of the Doomsday couple, Chad and Lori Daybell. A hearing for Chad Daybell took place earlier today. Daybell was not present, but his attorney asked for more time to file motions. The court also set a date to hear a motion to dismiss from the defense, which will be on March 23rd. Lori Vallow Daybell and her husband face various charges in relation to the deaths of two of her own children, JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan, as well as Chad's first wife, Tammy Daybell. Let's take a listen to some of today's hearing.
How does that day look on your calendar, Mr. Wood?
That day works for the state. The state's preference would be that this issue be taken care of before any other motions, though. Where it would be a dispositive motion, at least a temporarily dispositive motion.
Judge, I don't anticipate that the court's going to make a decision from the bench either on the severance or the other motions on the 18th. And frankly, having the motion 2 business days after that, I frankly believe the court's going to need some time to ponder all of these. And I fully expect the court could probably prioritize and decide on the motion to dismiss before putting any effort into its formal decision on the other 2. So I don't have as much concern that they're close in time as the court's going to probably not rule from the bench on all of these.
All right. I've considered all of that. I do find that the 23rd is a date that works for the court, and also in terms of the order of the proceedings in the case as well. So we'll schedule the hearing on the motion to dismiss for March 23rd, and then under Rule 12D, Mr. Pryor, then that will set your deadline for the filing of a motion of March 9th.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So if you'd prepare an order, Mr. Pryor, that indicates March 9th is the filing deadline for the motion, and the 23rd will be the scheduled hearing on the motion.
I will do that, Judge. And may I ask, Judge, I didn't hear what time on the 23rd?
Thanks. I believe I didn't mention that. So we'll just indicate that that will start at 9:30 a.m.
All right, Judge, I will get an order out, and you should anticipate getting those motions shortly.
All right. Thanks for your participation in the hearing today, both. Is there anything else we need to bring up this morning on this case, Mr. Pryor?
No, Judge, may we be excused?
Yes, Mr. Wood, anything further?
Not at this time. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Thanks, counsel. We'll be in recess.
For those of us who aren't as familiar with this complicated case, investigators believe that Chad and Lori's religious beliefs played a significant role in the murders of their family members. Court TV's Ted Rowland has a look at some of the accusations against the couple.
Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow's extreme beliefs about the end of the world, as described by their friends, are now clearly part of the investigation into the deaths of Lori's children, JJ and Tylee, Lori's ex-husband, Charles, Chad's wife, Tammy, and Lori's brother, Alex Cox.
We're gathering together as saints, as brothers and sisters, and preparing for the second coming of Christ. We want to be there together, and we want to be there strong together.
That's Lori Vallow on a podcast in November of 2018 discussing the end of times. A few months later, this is what Lori's now dead husband Charles told police in Arizona about how Lori's religious beliefs had become disturbingly extreme.
Her religious stuff has gone way off the deep end. She threatened me physically. She made threats at the kitchen. Doesn't care what happens to her. Come get him. I don't care. We won't hear that much longer anyway. And I've got my God colleague. I can kill you if I want, anytime I want. It's just irrational stuff.
Yeah.
She needs some serious help. I want her to get help. I'm worried about her.
Both Lori and Chad told friends and family that they are part of the 144,000, which is a biblical reference from the book of Revelation.
The book of Revelation has a chapter in which it talks about how when Jesus comes back to the earth, or in anticipation of that, then there will be 12,000 elders or members from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. And so when you do 12 times 12,000, that's how you get to 144,000.
According to friends, Chad believes that he and Lori are not only part of the 144,000, but that it's up to them to lead the other chosen ones after the second coming of Christ.
I've recently released my autobiography entitled Living on the Edge of Heaven, where I tell more about my 2 near-death experiences.
That's Chad Daybell talking about his books on a website called Preparing a People. The video has been removed. In his books, Daybell claims that near-death experiences, the first when he was a teenager diving off a cliff, gives him the unique ability for visions, a sixth sense of events that will happen or are about to happen. According to his friends, Chad had visions that his wife Tammy was going to die, that Charles Vallow's body had been taken over by a zombie, and that Lori's children, 7-year-old JJ and 16-year-old Tylee, were also zombies. Chad, according to friends, also believes that he's had many previous lives and has even been married to Lori in past lives on different planets. Chad told his friend Julie Rowe he was James the Less, or James the Just, one of the 12 apostles.
He started telling me about how he had an attack. He was in his living room in Rexburg, Idaho. The way he described it was that his veil was more open than it had been, and he started remembering some of his past lives.
How and why Chad and Lori's religious views became so extreme is unclear. Friends of both say something changed.
Chad's been a very prolific author, so in the past, I would say a lot of his publications are very much in the mainstream, but it does seem that recently their trajectory seems to be taking them away from the kind of center where most people in the faith would have.
Now, both Chad and Lori are sitting in Idaho jail cells waiting for trial, or, if they still believe it, the end of the world.
I'd like to welcome now in New York trial attorney Lorraine Carruth. Lorraine, thank you so much for joining us here on Court TV. Why should it take so long? Why do defense attorneys in this case need to ask for additional time when Chad's been in jail for quite some time now?
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. So statutorily, there are timelines by which attorneys have to make motions, whether they be affirmative motions or defense motions. And so with the likelihood, since so much time has passed, that time has come and gone. And so the only way that the defense could present those motions is by the court's permission. And that's why they did this hearing today, so that the defense can ask for more time.
I love that you brought up the fact that it's the court's permission. There are some things mandatory, as you pointed out, and some things then that the court has to say, yes, I'm going to allow you to do this. Part of the reason, as we understand it, that the motion was made for more time for Chad Daybell's attorneys to file things is because they say that it took a long time to get grand jury transcripts. I know that you're a former assistant district attorney, rather. Tell me, if you would, why it might take longer to get grand jury transcripts than it might take to get, a subpoena for records from someone.
I would say that it may take a while because, there's a court reporter that takes down the grand jury minutes, and life happens. There's circumstances where that court reporter may have been out, and they're usually the only ones who have access to the transcript that they took down, that they photographize. And so that may have been a situation that could have delayed them getting the minutes. I would also say that maybe they didn't have all of the information that they needed to get the grand jury minutes. That could have also been a barrier as well. And so, it can take some time depending on the situation.
And one of the things I really appreciate when attorneys do file motions, they have hearings, is because it creates that record. And we know as more was unearthed about this investigation, there were multiple charges, and then another victim was added, and that was his wife, Tammy. How difficult does it make it for the state to have to really add on additional charges and more information they've learned against one defendant? In this case, there are two, but let's talk first about Chad Daybell.
It's not too difficult. They would just need to, as long as the facts support the charges that are being added, then they can ask leave of the court to add those charges based off of the information that's already before the court. And of course, they would have to give a reason as to why at this point in time, they're adding this additional charge, and that reason being is that there's this new evidence here that contribute to their wanting to add that additional charge that wasn't originally added in the indictment or included in the accusatory instrument.